Hello, and welcome to our afternoon
Hey,
session
Susan.
of Meet Momo Code Finalists. Today we have Mohammed Amin here in our hot chair, and welcome to our attendees and our guests who are here to listen to, Amin's experience and what he's up to nowadays. So welcome, Amin. How are you doing?
Thank you, Susan. I'm glad to be here and thank you for having me. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Fantastic, fantastic. It's been a long time since I've seen you, so it's really nice to catch up.
Yeah, yeah, same, same.
So let's kick off with our first question. So, if you could just give a brief introduction about you, where you're from, your tech stack, and your tech journey prior to starting the JUUBIX Global TechSprint Leadership Program.
All right.
Over to you, Amin.
Uh, yeah, I'll start with the personal data. My name is Mohammed Amin Hajltaief. I'm from Tunisia. I'm 26 years old. Um, my background is not like my educational background prior to JUUBIX was and where I studied was not really tech heavy. Well, I was just like a literature student, but then I changed my career into tech, and then I started through a program called Microverse. It's a boot camp that help you, get into web development and kick off your career. And then I found out about JUUBIX, and I joined, and I worked there. I think for 4 to 5 months, uh, a good while. My stack is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.js, React TS, TypeScript, and on backend I work with Node.js, non-SQL, SQL, Mongo, or Ruby on Rails. Basically, that's it. But I'm more heavy into front end. I like design. I like how to work with the page layout, the interactions, and all to that.
We like to go a bit back, so we want to know like about your family history, if that was part of the influence of you going into the software industry, or if there was any other industries, any other experience that you had growing up that actually influenced you to, embark on this journey.
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. My family did not have the biggest influence, but my lifestyle was that my family were like let me do things. I'll kick off by saying that I was introduced to computers since a very young age, like age of 5, 6. I remember the first time I turned the computer on, I was like scared because it just showed a blue screen. I was not expecting that, so I just shut the machine off. That was a fun experience. I still remember it to this day. But yeah, I was introduced to computers at a very early age. It was not meant to be a professional career, but rather like a hobby. Me just growing up using computers and stuff. The way my family helped is not just by providing computers and electronics, but to let me do whatever I want, and then that includes breaking stuff without being you know yelled at to the bone, but it just allowed me to with the two things that I mentioned, not being provided and being allowed to touch. So whenever I needed something, I was not going to be just okay, just ask for it, but I needed to way a find. I need to find a way to get an alternative, or to just DIY the things myself, and that helped a lot uh, for me to get closer to computer science, to get into hardware and also software, because I remember back in the days I played a game, and with anger I just like punched my laptop, and I broke my hard drive. And then, as I told you, I was not really provided. They were not like provide me everything, so I had to find an alternative, since I can't install another system on my computer using just a corrupted drive, so I had to use a USB stick and actually install Linux. And from there, I got closer to Linux to Bash, to how alternative systems work, and yeah. But that was not meant to be a career. But that was only just me doing stuff, daily stuff. I didn't think of computer science as a career. I was just like, it's a hobby. But my career was like literally just like a completely different thing, like literature, English literature. But then when I found here in the market is not helpful with that path, I just went to something I love and I've been doing for a lot, and I just joined the bootcamp and kicked off from there.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Amine. So goes on to our next question. What made you choose to participate on the JUUBIX GTLP?
Two things actually. The first is that I just got out of microverse back then. I think I just at the very end. So you find an opportunity to just jump in, and I advise everyone, you find something, just jump into it. That's the first thing. The second thing is just the way JUUBIX is. I wouldn't jump on anything, but I would jump on something that has meaning, something new, something challenging to me. JUUBIX came with a completely different idea, some innovation. There were like innovations that played around, blockchains and these emergent technologies, but JUUBIX has a special, relation to that. And when you gave me the document the first time, I was hesitant because I just saw another company with new, just adopting new technologies and stuff. But then I actually read and I understood that it's a different thing. There are new elements, new ideas, new conceptions. So I just wanted to be part of that because it looks really amazing. From looking at the concept and the idea, and I just wanted to be in.
Fantastic. Amine. So, while you were participating in the GTLP, what areas did you cover? Like in terms of participation? Yeah.
I heavily worked on front end, but I also covered many different areas. I remember you like assigning me to different teams because I like to participate there. And I remember product development, backend, a bit in marketing, design, and also front end, which I mentioned heavily. I reconstructed front end to be more accessible, to have better interaction, better user experience. I also changed the coloration of the logo. Remember they were a bit like heavy colors, so I just made them softer. But yeah, mostly on the front end side.
Amazing. I wanted to touch on that. So, there was times I know in the program that I wanted you to be a leader, and you kind of like, stayed you shied away from that quite a lot. I mean, what were the reasons for that? Because as far as I was concerned, I knew that you had the skills and you had the creativity. So it would be good to hear from your side. Obviously, you're now a finalist to be a global leader. So now, being considered as a finalist, like how do you take it now going forward?
Yeah. Which team you assigned me? Yeah, you assigned me to. I didn't try off, by the way, the leadership idea, but I was gonna be a leader in marketing, I think. But I have witnessed many colleagues who have more passion to that. For example, if you assign me to front-end leadership, I would have taken it like on the spot. But with marketing, I saw different ideas and different concepts that were of people who are more engaged into that field more than me. So if I lead people who have more passion to the field, I would not be the best leader. And also, I would, hinder some ideas from going on. So I delivered that I passed on that role, so I wanted to give it to someone who has more passion into the field. But if you gave me, for example, front-end leadership, I would have taken it gladly and on spot.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for that, Amine. So that moves us nicely into our next question. So our next question is, did you feel that the GTLP was inclusive and diverse? And if so, why?
Not only yes, but absolutely. It was more diverse than I thought when I first joined, and very inclusive, very, very inclusive. And that was amazing, because I work actually in a company that is using flat structure for development. You are very close to the CEO. You can contact them, and that's very, very good. And I like that from where I work, and especially on JUUBIX part. I remember whenever I had an idea, I just contact you like on WhatsApp and immediately like jump on a call and discuss it. If we have different members, they also join, and we exchange ideas about that, which is really, really crucial. Like it doesn't have to be like, okay, we're nice, we're doing that. It's actually very good for the company that to include as much as they can. Obviously, if it is big company, you can't just like, if everyone has an idea to discuss it with the CEO, it's going to be like a full-time schedule for them. But if you organize more and you just put your head around that particular idea and that concept, you can get away with very brilliant ideas and many good concepts. As for diversity, yes, I graduated from Microverse, which is an online school. We usually pass the day working on development, basic, coding skills, and also there are soft skills. And the company, like the school played a good role on teaching us how to work with, a diverse, teams, how to work with different people from different cultures. And I actually found that useful and found that as a whole on JUUBIX, because there were plenty of people from all around the world, from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from America. It was a very fantastic, atmosphere and a good, working environment. And you can, interact with more people, learn from their cultures, and also, see that application on the development. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Amine. So in terms of like the resources, like while you were, participating in the program, obviously you had your core team, but were there any external resources that were brought, into the program to support your development process, and any platforms, cloud or any other partners that were involved in facilitating the JUUBIX program?
Actually, for a startup, it looked like a big organization already, because from a startup, when I joined, I didn't expect the amount of support and the amount of help, the amount of accessibility to features as what I found eventually. We had all different type of support, all different type of access to the data, including clouds from different providers, Oracle mainly when I was there, but also there was AWS and Azure from Microsoft. There were also, mentors and leaders who actually joined on call. I mean, even including like important figures from all the companies I mentioned already. It wasn't just like meetings to just say hi. It was a meeting, a very immersive meeting where they discuss with us very important ways of doing things, how they are done, how these big companies use the microservices and the tools they provide, and what are the best uses for them. I learned a lot, especially from Oracle, about how to manage clouds and how to work with them. And it was a very good experience, and it had for me like a great values for my career and just for my personal knowledge.
Amazing, amazing. And were you able to experience any emerging technology, like in terms of the JUUBIX program and the JUUBIX product itself? Were there any emerging technologies that you were kind of involved in?
Yeah, I jumped more. I worked more with cloud. I wanted to learn how it is used, how the servers are, stored, and how they use them, how to relate with the server, with the DNS and stuff. And I learned a lot from the meetings that we had from Oracle. I failed to remember the dude's name, but I think Matthew. No, I don't know. I just forgot. But shout out to him anyways, because he helped a lot and he helped me personally understand many concepts. I delivered what I understood about the concept, but he clarified, how to do them, from technical perspective, which was actually rich and good. Because sometimes you know the concept, and you think, okay, I know this, and it should do that. But actually, when it comes to structuring data in form of code and stuff, it's sometimes you manage to actually fail and find a lot of challenges. So he clarified things ahead for me to understand. Yeah.
Fantastic. I know there was another member, particular mentor you really enjoyed. I think it was George.
George. Yeah, also really George. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't mention him. And I think
the technologies. I think you wanted me to say we're like most intensively on Kubernetes and Docker and a little bit. I think we spoke a little bit about Jenkins and how to do the integration part, but I didn't indulge more in that. I focus more on how to containerize the applications into smaller containers using Docker and how to manage that. Yeah.
Thank you, Amine. Thank you. Let's go into our next question. So our next question is, what do you think of the actual JUUBIX solution? So the actual product that you were part of working with, in terms of what it could do in terms of the market globally. What do you think of the JUUBIX solution itself?
My personal opinion about JUUBIX is that it's a new idea. That's a good thing for you, also a challenge. When it comes to good ideas, usually when you find products they either come up with new ideas, new completely different concept, and that also products will come with a previous idea, and then they try to enhance on it and come up with better features, and that is very competitive. So because you need to to beat your competitors and get your clients' attention. As for JUUBIX, we have completely new idea, like selling skills as assets, and it's a brilliant idea, and it's using immersive technologies to get around that problem. It's providing good solutions to to investors and companies in form of skills, not only like not microservices, but actually selling people's talent and skill, and communicate, enhancing the communication between the two parties, and linking them together. And yeah, it's a very good idea. It's new. So the challenges are to get people to understand the benefits of it. It's a new idea, so you need to actually provide the demand and then to fulfill it. So that's the challenge, but I think it's going in a really good way. It's a good path, and I think most people are aware of that particular service. So they would, I believe, they would really enjoy using it.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Amin. So yeah, going to our next question. Our next question is, since obviously you participated in the JUUBIX Global TechSprint program, what have you done since? Like, you completed the program, and I know you got a job as well, but even within the job, like since completing the program, like what other areas have you been involved in, experience-wise? Learning, development.
Yeah. There is one important thing that I learned from JUUBIX while I reconstructed front end is to be able to work on a big scale project like from ground and how to manage it. That really helped me where I work now. Basically, I kept my own stack, and I worked on multiple projects to enhance it. I remember I also learned, for example, TypeScript. The way I learned that, I just had an idea, and I got used to work on big projects, as I told you there. I had a good idea, and the way I learned it, I just kicked off. I didn't know mostly anything about it. I just wanted to learn it. So with big idea and driving myself out of the comfort zone, I just struggled at the beginning, but then I also gained a really good knowledge about that with just one project. I just had to get myself out of my comfort zone on a big idea, on a big project, and it worked magnificent for me. I struggled, to be honest, at the beginning, understanding the new syntax, the requirements, but then eventually I just got in and around how to use it and why and the benefits from it. And then, when you learn good technologies that are actually very recommended, it's very hard to come back from them. It's very hard to come back from them. And I really appreciate the fact that I actually did that. What I added more also other than TypeScript was Express and Node.js on backend, because we use that on this job. And I figured that it's not always as hard as it is when you are jumping from a language to another, when you understand the whole concept behind it. So it's just JavaScript, when it comes to Node.js and working with Express, it's just JavaScript. You need to understand what is it made for and how it is built. And from that whole concept, understand the concept, I can't just if our tech leaders just decide to emerge into another another completely different programming language, we would just jump into it. They give us trial period to understand the syntax, but as long as you understand the basics and the limitation and what is relevant to that language, you can just start working on it. And yeah, JUUBIX got me out of my comfort zone, how to deal with it. And after that, I started some projects, and then with work, I really enhanced my my tech skill.
Fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you've been through a nice journey from obviously leaving JUUBIX and then obviously getting the job and then also acquiring new skills and being able to develop more on the skills that you had. So that's really good to know. Also, I just wanted to add a question in there. So in terms of emerging technologies, which ones are the ones to look out for? And is there any platforms, any new products that you think that people should really be gleaning towards?
Any emerging technologies is just from what I see now is mostly building frameworks on top of each others to make jobs easier. My advice is you need to know what is the main language that this framework is built upon. Like, for example, if you're you just started getting into web development and you hear about React.js, for example, and you just jump on working on React, my advice is that you start from JavaScript first. Understand the basics, because React is built on JavaScript. It's just a framework. It makes job easy, and you will work with different data and with different websites, and you will see, okay, React just does that for me. But at the end of the day, there are some problems that you need to understand about JavaScript, like some concepts, some really important concepts, so that you can work with React. So my advice is, get into the ABCs first, and then learn about any emergent technologies that is built upon like a major language. It's
So
really
that
important.
nicely goes into my next question. You kind of maybe covered my next question actually, but it was what advice or what would be your key thing for to say to new up and coming software developers? What would be your advice, based on your journey? And if you were going back, from where you are now, you were going back to where you started. What if they were starting at that point, what would be your crucial advice to them at that point in time?
My advice to them is a bit personal. It could be wrong, it could be true. It's just my opinion about the matter. I think any developer is working with a computer at the end of the day, CPU, RAM, peripherals, hardware, actual hardware. I recommend that people get closer to the hardware to understand how it functions as a whole. You type your code, okay, it just works, print something on screen, it just prints it for you. My advice is to understand a little bit deeper from that. Where does it go? What is compilation? What is what is a compiled language? What is an interpreted language? How do they how does your piece of code just goes into the CPU? How does it read it? Not on just so deep, but an overall idea, so that you understand memory and you understand a lot of important concepts that are basically more or less been taken for granted now. Yeah, so just a bit closer to the hardware than completely 100% on software, because there is a say that says you don't have to know the engine of the car and how it works to drive it, but eventually that is applied to the users of your products. As for you, you are not on the driver's seat. You are a mechanic and and a driver at the same time. So you need to know some of these concepts that I just mentioned to be aware and planning and thinking ahead of the bug that is going to encounter you. And whenever a bug comes, you don't just looking at it shockingly. Sometimes there are bugs that are hard to get, and codes that are error codes that are more lenient towards hardware. So you just need to understand these concepts so that you face no issues at all. And I also advise planning ahead. Let's say you are going to work on a website, so or any program. My advice is personal. This is what I do. I think ahead. I think of what I'm going to use. What is the limitation of the language that I'm using? Is it going to fulfill my purpose? Thinking, how am I gonna deal with this particular challenge? This and this, spend the whole day on like thinking and planning. And then when you start, and on my experience, I never faced like a very crucial setback when it comes to doing any of my side projects, because I most of the time had everything planned on how it is done, or how it is going to be done. So yeah, my advice is planning. Think ahead of what you are going to do, if you can do it, or if you can't, what are the other alternatives, or even Google it on the spot. How can I do that already? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Thank you, Amine. That leads us into our last question for this interview today. So, do you see yourself as a future leader? And if so, why?
Future leader. There are different leaders here where basically most of the companies use. There are, the TPMs, like the project managers, and the team leaders. I don't see myself in project management. It's less involving in computer science, but I do see myself as a team leader in on a certain project, because it is good for you to be a leader, because it's just not only for your career, it's just for you. Like, it's a boost of morale, it's a boost of not morale, but like confidence, and it helps you think on the bigger scale rather than rather just like working on given a task and then you just work on smaller details. It's very important for any developer to lead at least one project. I mean, most of like everyone has been a leader of their projects, because once they worked on a project they have on their own, so they basically led that project. But when you are leading a group of people, the interactions of you should know the interactions of the whole website, and then you can assign tasks, and see and plan ahead of how is it going to be. I believe I can be a leader, and I think it's very important to be so. Yeah.
Thank you, Amine. That wraps up our interview for this afternoon. Really appreciate for you to jump on call. Do you have any last remarks? It could be a quote, it could be something your mum told you when you were younger. Do you have any last remarks for our audience and our attendees today?
First of all, thank you for watching us, and I hope this meeting helped and gave you an idea about JUUBIX as a company, and the different developers as persons, and yeah, just greetings and thanks. I don't have any remarks.
Thank you, Amine. So thank you again to our attendees and our audience members.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's my honor. Thank you.
Call today, and thank you, Amine, for taking time out of your afternoon as well to jump on a live session. And we wish you all the best of luck with your future endeavors, and obviously any future collaboration we might have with you. And yeah, thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Everybody.
Thank you very much for everyone.
Bye, everybody.